allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we have minutes. I read the August minutes, and Deb I read the July 12th minutes. So looking for a motion and a second.
I move that we adopt both the minutes from 7:12 and 8:23 meeting.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. First order of business is NACC 199-55 Fuller Road.
Yes. Okay. So, we had a prior filing on this at 242-131, has a certificate of compliance. And the wetland delineation that was shown on this plan, you can see is also displayed on the one in your packets and the one on the screen. Before the drainage easement went in, that wetland was much farther away, and this house and deck were constructed outside of the 50-foot no-build zone. But the way the wetland has expanded over the years, I think largely from there being more water coming into the system due to the development, the wetland has expanded, and you can see Kale's flags on there, wetland flag 1 and wetland flag 2, which are basically, I think she said it was somewhere near 46 feet to the deck, or?
I measured it as 47.
Right. So the deck is falling down and in disrepair, and they wish to replace it. But as a small project, that's an option. They can do it under a small project. It would be a small project A, even though it's now in the 50-foot no-build zone. It seems to be a part of the house in any photo I've ever seen in aerials. They checked with the assessor's office. The as-built didn't show it, but again, it's DEP file, what did I say, 131, 141. It's ancient. So I think replacing the deck in kind under the small project, they do want to expand the deck, and speaking with Kale, I think she let you know that that's not something you can do under a small project.
Well, initially it was until I guess we ran into this wetland issue where we're
Right.
like you say, we're 47 feet from the flag that she put in. So we're 3 feet away. We had wanted, it's a 12 by 12 deck. We wanted to expand it to 12 by 16 basically. But the expansion, even though we're not going to put any footings or foundations within that 50-foot wetlands, we're just going to put the rafters and the deck boards. And I wasn't aware of this, but she notified us on Monday morning that that would not be acceptable based upon the 50-foot setback.
Oh, twofold. We don't have a waiver clause in our small projects, so you'd have to file an RDA
At the very least,
at the very least.
Oh, yeah, it would only be an RDA, I think. I mean, if we're talking, they
It's
can,
existing
they
deck,
can
they're
probably
just
get
making
the
it wider.
sauna tubes, I would guess, out of. I don't, again, it gets a little trickier because you want stairs at that end, you want a landing. It's not really sure where those different things will touch the ground, and the commission doesn't allow anything to touch the ground in the 50-foot no-build.
Yeah, so the stairs will be outside of the 50-foot, would definitely be outside.
It's not really clear because the corner of the stairs right now, as shown, would be, from Kale's measurements, 46.9 feet away. Because your expansion is that little, you can see the proposed addition, and that's the point, right where it adds on to the new deck is 46.9 feet away. And that's, to my understanding, where the stairs would come down.
No, we would remove those stairs and put those stairs at the end.
More than 50 feet away.
So the stairs would be more than 50 feet away. So instead of a 12 by 12, we would have a 12 by 16 solid deck, and the stairs would be at the end, which are outside of the 50-foot no-build zone.
Well, like I said, our hands are kind of tied because we don't have waivers for small projects.
Right.
He's saying it wouldn't require a waiver, though. He's saying nothing would touch the ground in the 50. I just don't know.
Yeah, but a small project for a deck
It's
is to replace
300
it in
square
kind,
feet.
up to 300 square feet.
No, it's not in kind. So it's, A is to replace in kind, and I think B, I have to pull it out, is in-kind, B is in-kind replacement of decks regardless of size. A is open slotted decks without roofs equal to or less than 300 square feet, inclusive of stairs, ramps, when soil disruption is less than 50 square feet and no permanent soil alterations are planned under the footprint of a deck. So it can be any deck up to 300 square feet total. So 12 by 16 would still be less than 300 square feet,
No,
right? Yeah.
just, yeah.
What's to say it can't be considered?
Or can
The
we-
addition is gonna be outside the 50.
Yeah, I think it would be, if you treated that as the new portion, it's like an A and B deck replacement, as long as nothing ends up in the 50.
Right, and I guess part of the problem is we don't really have a plan that delineates the whole wetland. We have flag A and B that go to a corner. So, I mean, you could condition it, but I think we'd want to get out there and confirm that everything could be out of the 50. Again, I didn't go to this site, I just took the report.
So after Kale notified us on Monday, we did contact our contractor. We haven't heard back from him if there's any, but we'd like to pursue the original plan that we submitted to the town.
I think if that's the case, I think we need a wetland delineation. We need more than 2 flags on that plan to be able to draw a plan where that will show either that or, you know, if you're comfortable with it, I can send Kale out there to put a couple more flags.
So that, here we're threading the needle right down the regulations
Right.
here. The small project intent was to make it less onerous for, those things that have less likelihood of impacting a wetland and less onerous on the homeowner. So part of that is to not have a robust wetland delineation, part of that's to not require engineering and detailed surveys. But where this is so close and not knowing where it's gonna fall, and we don't have a definitive design, we could approve it based on what we have and require that, when they get the design built, design completed and maybe laid out, that they then conduct the pre-construction conference. Now, the problem is that we may find a problem there and the whole project gets held in limbo based on everybody's intent to give good faith.
Yeah, but you already know where the deck is going, so we already have the plans for the deck.
Yes, I mean, well, the contractor provided the plans. It's basically just an 8-foot
Yeah.
extension off the side of the house.
The point is, we wanna find out if the part that you're extending, that's gonna be outside the 50.
Absolutely.
So there's nothing touching the ground within 50 feet of the wetlands.
That's what Jen is going, is you say absolutely, and I believe it, but absolutely based
Yeah.
on 2 flags. What we don't have is, we don't have feeling of what the rest of that wetland looks like, just
So
because
if
you.
if someone from the department can go out and take a look and see, make sure that's not gonna be a problem, then we can consider what's before us, or what you wanna do. So the thing is, continue it until they get that done, and then come back. If
Yeah.
it does create a problem, if it's gonna be within the 50, then
You'll know that in advance before the next meeting.
know that in advance, then you can consider just replacing the deck in kind.
I have one more question. On the plan that I have, it says proposed addition and deck.
The addition's already there, isn't it?
So right now, the deck is 12 by 12, including the stairs going down.
Okay.
What we would do is, the proposal is to extend the deck 8 feet away from the wetlands, outside of the 50/50 zone. That is basically the proposal.
But you're not enclosing it and using it as an addition.
No, we are not enclosing it whatsoever.
Okay, well, that's what it says on
House
the,
addition is over there.
huh?
It exists over here.
No?
No, there's no, that's an existing sunroom, there's no, it's
Yeah,
just, he's saying the
existing
addition is addition to the deck.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
Okay.
Proposed addition is the state.
Oh, addition, yep, it says, okay,
To the deck, that's all.
all right. All right, so we're gonna continue it, and you're gonna go out and check the flags.
Continue it.
Do you have any questions, Sean?
I know, it's under 300 square feet, right? 20 by 12. I don't have any questions.
Oh, I thought it was 16 by 12.
Well, 16 is the walkable area, if you include the stairs going down.
You do,
Uh-huh.
you do include
Then
the
do,
stairs.
that would be 20 by 12, the
So
total,
that's 340.
240.
240.
240.
Oh, sorry.
So we're still under.
Still under the
So
threshold.
that would be the total size of the deck, 240.
Do you have any more questions, Joe?
Doug,
Deb? Okay.
So I have a question, so we went back to our contractor based upon Kale's saying that we have to redesign it, and I think we'll decide if we have to do it or not. But if the town goes out and says, you cannot, we have to redesign it, do I have to come back here with the redesign, or could I submit the redesign to the building department, knowing that it's outside of, all the redesign is outside of the 50?
Still need a vote for the small project.
Right, so the commission wants you to put they want a couple more wetland flags on the plan, and they want, like, you to draw on, it's hard for them, because what you have is on a couple different plans, but what they want to see is your deck design on this with the full wetland line on it. So right now, we just have 2 flags out there.
All right, so
they-
maybe, so I made some sketches, could I distribute them to the council to take a look at?
Sure.
And
I don't know
you're
if-
gonna do the, you're gonna flag this, all
Yeah, I'll go out there, yeah.
right, instead of having.
I don't know if this is gonna help me or
Instead
hurt me,
of
but-
hiring a wetland scientist for 2 flags.
no, it's a waste of money.
Right.
These are not to scale, but I believe, I'm confident the dimensions are accurate.
This is the existing.
That's the existing deck. So if you look at it, the intent is to expand it 8 feet to the right. We will remove the current stairs. 4 feet expansion would be just a solid deck, and the stairs would be at the end. And you can see the 2 flags that are placed there now.
But what we're saying is there's some assumption in what you're doing that the west of the line goes where you say after wetland flag.
Yeah, I can guarantee you, the wetlands go further away from WF2, so we're not gonna get any closer to
As long as that
WF2.
can be confirmed in the
Okay.
field, and then you can show a plan like this with the proposed deck on it, show that the extension is outside the 50. Then
Okay.
That's what we're asking for.
I could
We're
definitely,
asking you to continue until you can show those to it, and then the next meeting, if you provide those documents to us, then we'll consider approving the project as you proposed.
okay.
Or what you would like to do.
So they meet again in 2 weeks. We just have that plan in 2 weeks. And
So
then,
the plan would be just a revisal of this with showing the,
like, the extension of the line confirmed and, this sort of thing on that plan, sketched in with that wetland line kind of coming through where it comes through, all the way through. Most of our plans contain a 25-foot no disturb and a 50-foot no build, and that line comes out from the wetland line and shown on your plan to show the commission where your work falls. And we can do something like that to scale on this plan, but that's what they want to see.
okay.
And Jen, what is going on within 25 feet out there?
Again, I don't know, and so that's another thing. If you just replace in kind, the commission doesn't usually get into, do you have a buffer to the wetland, a 25-foot no disturb, are there wetland markers? It's usually when new work is proposed that you start to ask those questions.
What year was that original filing, the house was built? Because I bet it's darn close to us not even having them.
1982.
That may predate the 2550.
It would, but there's no grandfathering of anything for the commission as far as it goes. It wouldn't mean that the lawn is illegal. What you've done in things built that long ago is asked for usually some lesser buffer. If the 25 is most of the backyard, then you wouldn't say you'd want the 25 monumented, you'd want like a 10-foot buffer or a 15-foot buffer. It depends on the situation, but I can talk to them about that when I'm out there.
I think what's very, very critical of a meeting on the site with you folks and work out what it is you're seeing.
Well, they
and
did
then-
meet with Kale multiple times, but I think having somebody new is I know you guys a little better, and I think I'll go out this time to make sure.
Okay, so we need a motion to continue.
So moved.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm out next week, but I'll call you tomorrow And
Yeah,
set up-
my wife's home, so if you come out this week, that would be great.
I'll try to, if I can get there this week, or if worst case scenario, I'll get there Monday when I get back first thing, and we'll have it all set. But I'll try to get there tomorrow or Friday as best I can.
Okay, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Next one is NACC 200, 5 Chatham Circle in North Andover.
So this one's a little bit more straightforward in that this Chatham Circle itself did not have a filing, did not have wetlands. But somewhere, I think it was before Chatham Circle that the Berkeley Street Pond was installed. And I don't know what was there for wetlands before that big pond was in there, but you've considered that pond on Berkeley to be jurisdictional under other filings, both before and after I got here. So when this project came in, it's 80 feet from the Berkeley Street Pond or more. Which you can see in this plan. Better if I download it. But it is going to be a sunroom over in the location of an existing patio. I believe the only soil disturbance will be to remove a fence and put in some footings.
Exactly. We're going to be putting in 5 sonotubes to build a deck and then build a solarium on top of that.
5 sonotubes?
Mhm. Typically 18-inch diameter, 4 feet in the ground.
Sean, any questions?
Where are the wetlands on that picture, Jim?
Down at the bottom of the photo is the Berkeley Street Detention Pond, if you can see it.
No,
It's,
that's not an issue.
it's a fairly large pond, and it's been jurisdictional under multiple other filings.
Is it
It's-
off his property?
Oh, yeah,
Off
definitely.
Yeah.
It's off the property.
And the area where the deck is going, it's in the back right corner?
Correct.
I mean,
Of the property that's in yellow.
I don't think I have any other questions. Thank you. Joe?
I have no questions.
None? No questions.
Okay, motion?
This would be to approve as a small project L, which is other, with a post-construction inspection. Given the woods between the house and the pond, I don't think any erosion control is required for sonotubes.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.
Any conditions, Jim?
Yeah, it would be accept as an L with a post-construction inspection. Okay,
Okay,
great. I'll get
thank you.
that written up.
Have a good night.
Thanks.
Okay, next one is an RDA for 1160 Great Pond Road.
So you should have this plan in front of you. If you recall, you approved or issued a negative determination for soil stockpiling and grading around at the soccer field at Brook School. That material was coming from their arts project, which was outside of jurisdiction. The amount of material they started taking out of there is a lot more, I think, well, I'm not sure, than they anticipated, but there's a lot of material already at the soccer field. And with kids coming to school, they started trucking the material across the street to the site that you issued an order of conditions to for a solar field, which is the plan that you see in front of you. When the planning board found out about this, they have a watershed special permit for the arts building, and they have an inspector on the site. They let me know, and I went out there with Mr. Willoughby, and I think it's just you and I the first time, to take a look at the stockpiles, and it became clear that the erosion control and the construction entrance to the site and where the soil was being spread is within jurisdiction. So this not being the solar project, and it sort of exceeding work in the buffer zone that the solar project would have proposed, You advised that they file an RDA for this, an after-the-fact RDA. So the soil is over there, the erosion controls are firmly installed. We've had a couple rain events, there haven't been any issues. But they are now seeking approval to keep the material there, graded out and seeded, is my understanding.
Sean?
So the closest point of the soil that they have placed and want to continue placing is more than 68 feet away from?
Right,
the
we
resource
measured,
area?
we went out there,
Right.
all of us to measure, with the, I don't know what you call that. tool.
Rangefinder.
Yeah, the rangefinder tool, rather than just pulling tape or, that sort of thing. And 68 feet was to the edge of the erosion control. The soil is a few feet beyond that, 5 to 10, that they've started to grade it. Probably the nearest pile is farther, close to 100 feet away. So it is on a slope though, so we want them to get this loamed and seeded as soon as possible. I think I said we should probably put a deadline of it of October 15th, if that
I think we can do that.
is reasonable.
I don't have any other questions, thanks.
Joe?
It may have been part of the presentation, but I didn't hear it. Is this the extent of the soil that's going to be imported to the site, or is there still more to come over?
No, we've kind of given up on that. We missed the window. Construction got delayed. We were trying to get everything done before the students came back, and that just got all screwed up. So,
So is that an answer because of this year's conflict with season, or is it going to pick up again in, next summer? Or is it just you're
No, this
bringing material
location-
to a different location now?
yeah, a different location. This site here, we just want to grade out, put the topsoil back, and seed it and get it
So
stabilized
this is the
before
extent of
winter.
disturbance for
Yep.
this particular site?
Yeah.
Soccer fields, it's the extent of that?
They're still working back there. They have some massive soil stockpiles.
Yeah.
They're all, we confirmed, I think this week, that they're outside 100 feet, as you said, as part of the RDA. The work is within the 100, but the major stockpiling is beyond. You're not grading all that material out there either, though, so.
No, we're saving 3,000 to go to backfill the building.
back-
So we had no jurisdiction in the arts, Conservation had
The
no
building
jurisdiction in
itself,
the art center.
the project,
We
right.
did for the soil transport and storage and
Right.
reuse over at the soccer fields only.
Right.
But I think it's fair to ask the question, at the art center itself, is the soil excavation there complete, or is it going elsewhere on campus that you might want to talk to us about?
No, it might be some very minor excavation, but more right now, it's just moving soils on the site. The 3,000 yards that are stockpiled will go back in after we get the foundation down, and that will be used as backfill, not around the building, but around the site, because it doesn't drain well.
Refresh my memory, Jen, on the solar project. I have a vague recollection of preservation of as many trees as possible, but again, not to be in conflict with, the solar array. Was this an area where trees were slated to be preserved? Or was
So-
it up in the back of the site?
The soil stockpile area, they did come to us requesting to remove more trees, I think. I don't know if you did.
I'm not sure about the solar. I've been at Brooks for the grand time of a little over 2 months. So I wasn't part of the solar planning for that project. But if you look at the site, and I knew the site before, the location of the panels and access road and everything else would require, to my knowledge, no removal of trees.
They came to me because the stockpile area that was shown, they wanted to exceed, and they did ask to remove some trees, but it was outside of our jurisdiction.
Okay.
So, to my knowledge, there have been, where there's soil stockpiling and where the erosion control went in was field.
And the interface with the planning department for this process, that issue's been addressed? or-
So, yep, they were at our meetings as well, and they're requiring a modification to their watershed special, a minor modification to the watershed special permit for this activity.
We
because
don't
this-
expect any surprises if we take an
I
action
don't
tonight?
think so. The planning board was actually on a site walk for the solar project when they saw this. Oh, that's how it came about. It wasn't an inspection. It was, the planning board actually went out to the site.
Okay, so if we were to take an action tonight and close, we don't anticipate an
I
issue
don't
with planning board
anticipate an issue,
undoing
no.
something? Okay, I'm all set.
I just have a question, because I saw the pictures of the stockpile, I haven't been out there myself, and there's some nasty stockpiles. Originally, when they came before us, it was for banking up of the soccer field.
Right.
But did somebody make a miscalculation of the soil that was supposed to be removed and where it was going?
I think somebody did. I don't know the history of that. We knew where it was going. I think there were some minor miscalculations, well, some miscalculations in the initial calculations for the amount of soils to be taken out.
Yeah, because on the application, there was no mention at all about the soils being moved across the street or put all over the place.
Right.
Which I saw at least a half a dozen piles. Fortunately, in your case, it wasn't in the wetlands, but, you know, I'm not a big fan of being blindsided, and, you know, if there was that much soil being removed, being upfront, at least we would have known beforehand that the soil was going to a place that wasn't gonna impact the wetlands.
Right.
I just got a gaggle of pictures from Jen, and it looked like there was piles everywhere, and from pictures, I don't know where they're from.
It's two locations. One has about 53, the site here on the wall. We only trucked in about 55 cubic yards, so it's minor. The major stockpiles are at the soccer field, and believe me, Jen is on my speed dial now. So,
Yeah, well, as long as you pass her litmus test, and we're all set.
okay.
But it's not a healthy thing to do after the fact stuff in
Right.
the future.
Right.
Okay, Doug,
No question.
Deb, motion?
So it would be to issue a negative determination number 3 with the soil to be spread and seeded before October 15th, and erosion controls to remain in place until the site is fully stabilized and an inspection with the Conservation Department has been held to approve their removal. And I would say also a condition for monitoring following any storm event of a ½ inch or more. Mr. Willoughby says he's going out and doing that. I don't mind if that's it, but just that we get some formal reporting
Okay,
of you and doing the inspection and there being no concerns. It is really a rock-solid erosion control line. I will say it's, you know, somebody did a good job installing erosion controls, and,
Except they forgot to measure.
what's that?
They forgot to measure.
Yeah, oh yeah, well, they forgot to measure where they were supposed to put them. These aren't survey stake, they just kind of stuck them all around the site. But the soil won't be going anywhere.
No, I check both sites every workday.
So
And
what does this do to the permit that's in place for the solar array? Do we need to modify that in parallel? Does this
I don't
out-trump
think,
that?
I think that's why when we discussed how they should file this, we set a separate filing, because this doesn't really impact the solar array. The solar array was really about the construction access through the commission's jurisdiction. They weren't really supposed to impact. I do think when they do go to do their work, they're gonna have to move that lower limit of erosion control and put it where it belongs.
Okay.
That would be, and, I mean, there are other conditions on that. We talked about it when they extended their order of conditions, that they need to reflag it. So I think we can work that out when
Okay.
and if the solar project gets going.
Okay.
So we have a mo.
Unless you think you,
So moved.
okay.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Thank you.
thank you very much.
Okay, next one is 2421710 0 Main Street, North Andover DPW.
So this one, if you recall, Jack Sullivan was here to present last time for the ramp into the Merrimack for the fire department.
Nothing on the back.
Not ramping. Did you not get a packet?
We'll have recommendations after page 1.
They didn't print on the back.
Oh, it's a two-sided document with.
It didn't print on the other side. Yeah.
I
There you
think
go.
I don't know that I have.
Thank you.
Thank you. Perfect.
Were you waiting for
There
them
we
to
go.
get to side two?
Yeah, we didn't have side two.
Okay. Anyway.
Got them now? Good.
Didn't I copy them? Or did you change, or you changed them? No? Did I set them?
Oh, yes, we did change it because it was 1601, not 1607.
Okay. Sorry about that. 0 North Main Street is a closing issue.
So moved.
Motion?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Next one is 242-1710, 255 Haymeadow. We just got a letter in the ninth inning from the engineer.
1712, 15, I know, just to be clear. 10 was 0 North Main, right?
If Jen's fine with it, I think we should go with it.
I didn't, can we just table this one for a second? 'Cause
Table it,
I
sure.
think he's coming,
Oh, he is coming.
unless, I don't,
The applicant or the engineer? or-
It doesn't say it here.
hold
No
on.
letter.
There was a thing from the engineer too.
What's the date on
This one's September 13th. That's today. There's
Oh,
no,
I see no need for me in attending tonight's Conservation Commission meeting at this point. And did you guys read this letter?
Yes.
yes. We can table, it's not a big deal. We can move on to the next one.
Well, you wanted to table it because they might arrive, but.
No, but
there's-
they're not,
There's no
right,
need,
so-
to continuing is what we want to do.
But she hasn't read the letter either.
So he thinks it's stable and we should just issue the order permitting the wall as is.
I don't think he's saying that.
Oh,
No, I think he's saying it's not a wall.
it's a,
It's
right.
riprap, revetment, if you will, or slope stabilization.
Yeah, if-
But there are areas that are unstable. He's not going to retract from his original position on that. He's saying that, yeah, there is some stuff that needs to be done, and a clear narrative is appropriate. His client hasn't authorized him to do that, though he's prepared to do that when the authorization comes. We might have a standoff here between client, commission, and the engineer.
Okay,
So I
So-
think the engineer in our commission are pretty much in agreement that something needs to be done to fortify the wall, otherwise it's
Okay.
going to continue to
so we need
deteriorate
to
the rivet.
continue this matter and see how he responds to that to the next meeting?
I'm sure they sent him this letter, the applicant.
They did. My email says that he forwarded it to, the email is smartperson2020. So, I think that's the applicant. If it is, then I'll find out tomorrow. I think we should just continue it
We'll
until I
continue
can
it,
muddle
and
through
if not,
this
then we'll reinstitute the enforcement order
that I wrote.
from
Yep.
the get-go.
Continue to the next meeting.
Okay,
Deb made a motion.
so we're gonna, Deb made a motion to continue.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Next one is 242-1674, modification request of 15 Great Lake Street.
So this project is all but complete, with the exception of, this house has requested a deck on the back, which you see in front of you and on the screen. That deck will be right at the 50-foot no-build zone. Currently, the only thing this house has is a patio on the side of the house. So now they're requesting a deck out the back, and it is the odd shape that it is to keep it outside of the 50.
Okay. Sean, any questions?
No questions?
Joe?
No questions.
Doug?
No questions.
Motion? Unless you want to talk. Okay.
Thank you.
Motion?
We grant the modification request for 242-1674-15 Great Lake.
Second.
And then that would just be reflected in the as-built.
Yes, it will, yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
I'm sorry.
Aye.
Opposed?
It's unanimous.
Okay.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Sean, are you trying to tell us something?
Okay.
No, no.
We already
Just, I
voted, we
mean,
already
it's,
voted on chair for the year, so.
I know, but
Yeah, I'm-
he's eyeing for next year.
Village, I just gotta keep my villages. So what are we gonna do with the COC on 255? We're not
Continue
gonna-
it also, please.
We're gonna let that continue. Motion?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. 242-1111, PCC request, 200 Chickling Road.
Unit 208B only. And you've issued PCOCs on these before, this is Kittredge Crossing. I think we've gotten confirmation from an engineer that he is looking to close out the entire project. As you remember, Mark West did some work on this and some others, so We are very optimistic that we will get the full and final COC, not just these partials going forward, so I recommend granting this one, though. Anyone?
Okay. Recommend, motion?
Move that we grant the PCOC request for 242-1111, 200 Chickering Road, Unit 208B.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's
And
unanimous.
that's without a bond.
No release of anything,
release.
just that particular
Just the
unit for
document.
sale.
242-1678, COC request at 88/90 Saunders Street.
So you should have the plan and the information in front of you. Did I not get the COC in an email? I thought you sent it to me. I don't know, for some reason I didn't put it in the file, but I think it's pretty self-explanatory as far as the plan goes. There are some discrepancies and they're listed in the letter. I want to have some photos of the site. If you recall, this site, when you permitted it, basically had a dirt backyard and a lot of erosion. That doesn't really pertain to the addition that was put on, but just,
Photos I can circulate too, Jen.
but just that the, you should see the backyard now. So it was basically dirt and had erosion down towards the brook, but now it's all nicely vegetated. So the, some of the discrepancies include that a shed that was marked to be removed on the plan was not removed. That wasn't part of any calculation and is outside of the 50-foot no-build zone, so that should be okay. There was a, like, mulch bed established to one side of the house. They have some fairly large dogs who were doing a good job of tearing up the backyard back in the day that they're gonna keep over in that area. And there is a pathway, a place stone path over there. And they made some changes to the drainage, which Mary can tell you about. I think it's just,
Sean, any
it was supposed to
questions?
swale.
Yeah, there's the drainage trench along one side of the long side of the addition that's proposed. Instead of doing that, they just continued with the infiltration trenches at the corners, at the downspouts. I was showing infiltration trenches on the corners of the existing building. So that's what he did, he continued that instead. So he's connected the gutter from the existing building to this new addition and with the downspout here, another one here, another one here exactly, so should be.
Joe?
Plenty of information for it.
No questions.
Sean, you didn't have any questions, did you? Doug? Deb? I'm all set. Motion?
Move that we grant the COC request for 242-1678, 80-90 Saunders Street, Lot 7.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Thank you. Next one is 242-1601, COC request for 30/32 Layden Street.
I thought I told him to come around 7:30. What other one do we have on there?
We only have one more, I believe. Oh, we have,
Pembroke Valley Oil.
Yeah, we could
Certificate of
do that
compliance.
one.
okay,
That one first?
242-1680, COC request for 3 Massachusetts Ave.
I have to pull pictures up for this one because I know Lou remembers it fondly. I have my photos in 2 different files here. Nice. That's Mass Ave. Saunders Street. All right, I'm gonna 2 copies of everything, but.
That'll be nice.
These are the Mass Ave photos. So the only strange thing about this one is we received 2 as-built plans. One shows the structures and things that are physically on the site, and then there's just a plan with spot grades. So, all through the pavement, I think probably for the benefit of knowing that the whole thing drains back toward the containment area that they constructed.
But it doesn't.
It does. Well, with the exception of the used car lot at the front, you can see in the photos, there's an area that ponds up there. But it doesn't, remember how it was all ponding in that swale along the back?
Yep.
It's not doing that now.
That could be the water from the used car lot, too.
Yeah, maybe they did, but even if that is it, it's ponding in their lot, but
Right.
it's all newly paved, the markers are up, the no snow stockpiling signs are up. And it's, you know, given its location, it's still not like it's right on the edge of the Shawshene, and that's not a pretty slope or a well-vegetated area, but.
They actually did a good job on
Yeah, I
on
mean,
the
I
site.
think it looks, it's cleaned up, they removed a lot of trash and debris that was around, and I'm sure not necessarily theirs, so things look good.
Sean, any questions?
Nope. Didn't know
Joe?
it was in North Andover.
No questions.
Yeah, it's just about out, I can't tell you how many times I went to
It's the
go to the
river.
site and I drove right by it, I'm
Yeah.
like, darn, there it goes again.
Yeah. Doug, any questions? Deb?
Middle of the river's the line.
It's right here.
Joe, could you pass it?
Sure.
It's up by Junkies, it's Junkie Central. That's what they arrest everybody all the time. We need a motion?
Move to grant the COC request for 242-1683 Mass Ave.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.
I'm sorry, who,
Was Joe,
No, it was
excuse me,
Deb.
Sean
Sean.
and Deb.
somehow my photos disappeared. Okay, here's some more, okay. So the next is Kentuit and Layden. I know he wanted to be here because we've talked a lot about this site. These are the, if you recall, Mr. Burke sold off the two units. There's a duplex that was left on Kentuit Street and a duplex on, where you had to drive out and around and go all the way around to Layden. So this is we already granted a partial certificate of compliance to the Kentuit Street one. So this is the Layden Street half. And if you take just a second to read Merrimack's letter.
We don't have
you'll-
that back.
Yeah, there should be a
Should be.
certificate of compliance letter
You
from
got it.
Merrimack
I did.
Engineering in
Well,
there.
maybe I did, I'm sorry.
And then here are the photos from Layden, to go along with what you've written. I can put myself back together here. Many sets of leaves.
It's fine. You got that same one, I think. That's the same one.
So, there's a few discrepancies. I don't think there's anything out there that's not approvable. I just wanted you to read it. So, we did receive a letter that said all is in compliance, and then this letter came out of a review of the plan and some questions by me and a site visit before we kind of got things worked out. But the infiltrator was there, he has photos of its installation. Some discussion had to be had with ARCO about where the water and sewer lines were placed, but now they're accurately depicted on the plan, and they're down about 8 feet. So I think the fact that they run partially under the drainage basin is probably not an issue. There wasn't the stone berm at the front of the infiltration basin. That was installed actually today. And the stone in the photo, I commented that it looked pretty small, but he actually brought it in, and it's 6-inch minus stuff, it's not small, it's not riprap, it's more rounded stone.
Erosion stone.
But it isn't gonna move, like, I thought it looked like pea stone in that photo, but it's not.
Yeah, one time he had half and half, didn't he?
I think that was the project on the other side, these
The
are
other side.
different developers, so that's what, when it happened, I kind of instantly went to, oh, no, not again, but.
Yeah. Okay. Any questions, Sean?
Just, where are the driveways on the plan? I'm kind of hard time locating.
Oh, hold on, I'm showing the wrong plan here.
So see BCB, there's like a double parallel line that says BCB, that's bituminous concrete curbing. So everything away from the wetland, away from the wall of that is what's paved, and that's the driveway, turning into the two garages.
So they're actually, yeah,
One to the front of the house and then one to the side of the house. For unit two is the
it's,
side.
and right on,
Where's
you can,
unit two, Joe?
you can start, right at the bottom of the infiltrator, you can see the,
So this driveway goes
Yep, I
straight
see
into
that
here,
one.
right? And then this driveway comes in like so.
Oh, there.
It's all of this. Is that driveway.
so the driveways are a little bit of a different configuration, being wider at some parts and not being located in the exact footprint as proposed, but the one that's closest to the wetland is actually farther away from the wetland than it was proposed by
Which-
several feet.
Which one is wider? The one that goes closest to the wetland? Is that one changed at all?
One's wider at the entrance, the one that goes to the back of the building is wider at the entrance than was proposed, and the other one,
Because that other one is within 50.
here's how it was proposed, see how close it is to that existing wall? When you come out here, here's the wall, and look how far the driveway is away. See how many feet away from the wall it is?
Yep.
And now look on this plan, it's right, this wall was already in place, so it could have been right at the wall.
Yep.
So he moved it farther, but if you look here where it comes into the garage,
Yep.
see how it's kind of, it's wider up here, it extends, but this turnaround is actually up here and not as close to the wetland as was proposed. So in my thought, it's kind of a wash.
Thanks. That was one, the driveway. Riprap, I don't care about. The patios are on the other side of the building, right?
Yep,
So it
and they're
doesn't
just,
matter.
they're again like longer instead of wider. And the bulkheads, this is an older plan because the old one expired and this was refiled. Bulkheads were one of those things that we've only recently become aware should actually be shown. So again, I don't think it's an issue.
Thanks, I don't have any other questions.
No question.
Motion?
Jen, I am not in the butter to this one, I was to the others.
Well, you're in a butter to the filing, so I think it's probably best to just recuse yourself. Like this
I
was,
sat in to maintain the quorum. Actually, we had a quorum.
no, we have a
Yeah,
quorum,
we had a
yeah,
quorum to
so you
begin
can
with, yeah.
just,
I'm just gonna recuse the vote.
So then I'll move that we grant the COC for 242-1601 Katuitt and Leiden Streets.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And one abstention.
right.
All right, and then we have a decision. Did you get a chance to write that?
Yeah, well, this was from the last meeting, remember?
Right.
We had a 3-week meeting delay, so, and I didn't have it written at the last meeting, and we couldn't close it, so I wrote it right after the last meeting. And you should have it in your packets.
That I don't.
Zero,
We don't
no,
have
we
it.
don't.
You're gonna make copies of the decision, I'm gonna give one to me. Okay. I do have one discussion, received a request under the tree removal policy. These are on Winter Street. They are more, they're on the other side of the street from a pond and in the outer 200-foot riparian to something associated with the river on the other side of, I guess the concern is that they're all white pines. These two are on one side of the driveway, and then there were 3 on the other side of the driveway. They're all alive and healthy, and he just wants to take them down. I think the closest one, they're 80, 90 feet from the pond on the other side of the road.
So why does he want to take them down?
He feels like it.
The pines.
They're white pines. It is heavily treed, as you can see, but it is sort of discretionary, so, you know.
But the resource area is on the other side of the street?
Yes. But, you know, we usually approve things dead, dying, or dangerous. These are clearly not that.
Not any of that.
Right.
If they're otherwise healthy and they're not posing a hardship for the owner or a risk to his property, to the house or any buildings, then why
Yeah.
should they be taken down?
I'm not a big fan of cutting down healthy trees if they're not, you know, gonna fall on the house or.
Well, so maybe I'll advise him either he gets an arborist letter that says there's some reason to take them down, or he could file an RDA.
Why does he want to take, I mean, is it more usable land? Is
No,
it-
it's not, none of the, that's what I asked Kale about all that, because she was the one who went out there and reviewed it, and, you know, they're along his driveway, and he just doesn't want them there. I don't know. It says, you know, previous permission of 3 large trees.
Which particular, I mean, there's a lot of trees in the picture. Do you know which ones he's talking about?
They have pink tape on them, so 1, 2 in that photo.
Huh? I just don't like them.
He doesn't like big trees, I
I
guess.
don't like cutting down healthy trees, because that'll set a precedent.
Right. I said the same to 172 Summer, we talked about that too.
Doesn't appear to be a reason to take them
I mean,
down.
if he come up with a reason,
Safety
we could revisit it, but I don't think there is a reason.
Okay, but then what does he file if he wants to take them down?
But
RDA?
to me, I hate bureaucracy. So he comes in and he's preserving the 25, it's across the street. He's preserving the 50, it's across the street. Clearing your land outside of the, and doing landscaping and other stuff is a permitted activity, but permissible activity under our regulations. So we put him through an RDA, and we're gonna be inclined, regardless of the necessity of danger or health or otherwise. He wants to take the trees down, he's entitled to it.
Right, but, well, I guess the thing is that people, you're the approval body, like, we shouldn't be in the buffer zone allowing people to take vegetation down or out without your approval. So this makes it a process, right? You can't just go and do it at, you know, wherever you feel like it. You have to apply and ask. I suppose, given the distance.
Even a small project.
We could do a small
Small
project.
project, it would be permissible.
Okay, and then at least you could ask the questions.
I mean, I don't want to sound like I'm going easy on it, but I mean, son of a gun, if it was right up against the wetland or it was on the same side of the street even, I might be having a different tone, but I don't
So,
get this
like a
one.
landscaping small project or,
That's me, I mean,
or
I
an
may not have
L.
supported my colleagues.
I mean, the closest tree Kale's saying is 80, 90 feet away. So, I think it could qualify. Again, given the circumstances, it's across the street. There isn't any buffer on his project in the road.
Yeah, I mean, my thought is, he's doing the right thing by coming to us because it's within 100 feet. I don't like the fact that he or she's gonna take it down anyways, but if he wanted to go ahead and build a structure there, we'd tell him, go ahead and take down the trees and build a structure. It's just not a structure.
Okay, so small project?
At worst.
Okay.
I mean, it's just my thought on it, you know, I'd rather not see it happening.
Well, at least you'd get to hear why and all those sorts of
Well, if
things.
he's got a reasonable
I don't think he needs a
A
reason.
reason for doing it.
I think it's
you know,
permissible.
Safety
Could be
reason or
sunlight,
something
yeah.
like that.
I don't like the twigs falling on my driveway, sap, sunlight.
But
The
it-
birds keep
it's-
me up at night.
It's permissible, but I guess what I don't wanna say on air is that you can just go and cut them down.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's a process, but I
Oh, but
think it's a small project.
Since you went through the tree removal process, we can authorize it.
You gotta come to us first, I think
Okay,
is the key.
small project then, gotcha.
Yeah.
I like that answer.
Yeah, I just.
Okay, so now we all have the decision. So this is for the emergency access boat
Most of us,
ramp.
we gotta share.
Doesn't matter, I'm gonna approve it
No,
anyway.
for the boat ramp? Nobody's recused on the boat ramp?
No,
No.
No, okay.
Not even the former harbor master?
Yeah, the former harbor master.
Okay, guys,
She
don't laugh.
has no interest in it. She was never an advocate one way or the other.
So they propose, I mean, the truth is, this is, they're gonna have to do this during low water, not digging it out during a flood, so, but I don't assume that would be. I don't know if I put any time of year restriction on it. I think I wrote this a while ago, so.
well, they got a small window, it's either yesterday.
Or next
or-
summer.
Or till next summer.
So maybe in the, condition 41, the sequencing, we put work should be done in a period of low water? Or not, when no storm event is predicted or something, right? This is on the Merrimack, we don't want them tearing out that wall and then, what do we wanna specify?
Yeah, just at low water, a time of low water, either late fall or
Well,
Or
early fall
midsummer.
probably, or
Early
some.
fall.
early fall or
Before the-
midsummer.
Before hurricane season.
Wait for hurricane season and then do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So they'll,
Really?
yeah, sooner, like now, right?
This is DPW project. We're gonna do it on their own, or they're gonna contract
I'm
it?
sure they'll
They'll have
contract it.
Arco do it.
Yeah,
Okay.
probably.
Yeah,
Um,
it's not that big, it's 1 day dig and 1 day,
So they're
Prep.
using some straw wattles, it'll probably just be at the toe of slope, it's on the plan. I proposed a bond of 2,000, again, I don't think this is not,
it's a town,
Weeks of work.
it's a town project, right?
right.
I
Well,
wouldn't
they
go-
usually have the contractor bond, their work, DPW does.
Okay,
No stormwater conditions. I think we can get rid of the, no underground, condition 64 about the underground fuel storage. I don't think the Bank of the Merrimack's gonna be any place that anybody would even think of
no
putting.
cement washing, all that stuff,
Yeah, that's in here,
right?
that's a standard condition. No, washing from concrete trucks is number 60. There's no wetland markers, obviously, this is the end of a street.
Condition 65, no dumping of leaves, grass clippings, or brush, no. I
This
think
is
the
a-
operative word being dumping, they've testified and we understand, that they're gonna weed whack that periodically and leave it all right there. They're not,
Right, yeah, that's just normal
Yeah.
maintenance, but
but that's not,
this shouldn't
that's
be
not
where-
dumping in the pure
This shouldn't
sense.
become, the place where we bring our extra leaves, but again,
We used to bring snow.
that's happened before, but not in a very long time, and it wasn't our town that was doing it.
Yeah, it was,
Well, it wasn't the town that was doing it.
yeah, it was.
Oh, in the old days.
In the
The old days, old
I
old.
thought you were talking about the more recent dumping.
No, what's that?
Put it in the river.
That's what we used to do.
Sure.
Well, let's put it in the Merrimack, up by the Pemberton Park, and we put it right there.
So,
It's like
pretty
coastal towns,
straightforward,
put it in the-
unless anybody sees anything.
What's that?
That's why they-
I don't see anything.
I'll add the time of year restriction and
Louis Wood
that's
still
that.
does,
I'm all set.
and they get away with it. Any questions on the decision? Motion?
Move that we adopt 242-1710 as amended.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous. Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, and that's unanimous.